Hi and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about layout and printing. Your page layout determines the orientation, margins, and size of the paper that you're using. And we need to know this information if we have to print your document. So I have a document that's open on my screen. Let's go ahead and look at the orientation. There are two possible paper orientations. You have portrait and landscape. Portrait orientation simply means that the longer side of the page is standing tall or vertical. Landscape means the longer side of the page is horizontal or the page is lying on its side. The portrait or landscape orientation, the choice of which you choose based on the document, the size of the text, the layout that you want, the images that you have on. I'm going to go ahead and set this back to portrait. I'm going to look at size. Paper size tells you the size of the page that you're printing on. There are two paper sizes that are standard, most of us are aware of. Short paper or letter size paper and long paper, or correctly called legal size paper. You can set the paper size here, or you can go to more paper sizes and choose the relevant paper size. So you have letter, click on OK. Right. The margins on your page are preset or default to 1 inch top bottom left and right, or in centimeters 2.54 centimeters top bottom left and right. Your margin is that white space around your document that no text appears in. In your margin, you can add a header or a footer, but other than that, generally the margins determine where your insertion point starts. If you look on your screen, the darker gray section here denotes the margins, the left and right margins. The darker gray sections here and here denote the top and bottom margins. To change your margins, you can choose a preset, which is narrow, moderate, wide, or you can set custom margins. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the page setup dialog box, and here now we can make all the same changes. So let's look at this. Our margins are currently set to 2.54 centimeters all the way around. If you want to measure that in inches, it's basically 1 inch all the way around. Now it's important to note that the bigger the margin, the less space you have for your text. So let's make your left and right margins bigger. So I'm going to make your left margin 3 centimeters and your right margin 3 centimeters. I'm going to make sure my paper is letter size, and my layout, we do not have any header and footer on this page, so we're going to leave that there. Margins, and we're going to OK. I want you to keep your eye on the line of the text here. When I click on OK, your margins have gotten wider and your text was indented. Why is this important? Knowing this is important because when you are ready to print, file, print, you need to know where and how of printing. So for example, you need to set your printer choose a printer from the list. Determine how many copies you'd like to print. So if I had like 10 copies of this document, set the copies to 10. What am I printing? Well, fortunately, my document only has one page, so I can only print one page. But if I had more pages, I could have printed the first page or any one page that the cursor was on. I could have printed all the odd pages or all the even pages in the document. Or if the document, say, had 10 pages and I only wanted page 2 to print, I could select page 2 only to print. I could print, if my printer is a duplex printer, I can set it to automatically print on two sides of the document, on two sides of the page, or in this instance, if I say manually print on both sides, it means when the page comes out of the printer, I need to put it back in to print on the other side of the page. In this instance, I'm going to leave it at one-sided. Collating determines how the document is printed. So if I'm printing a document with 5 pages, if I choose collated, it means it's going to print page 1 to 5, and then the next copy comes page 1 to 5 if I'm printing 10 copies. If it's uncollated, I'm going to get 10 prints of page 1, 10 prints of page 2, 10 prints of page 3. Again, here I can change the orientation of the document between portrait and landscape. If I change the orientation of the document from portrait to landscape, I am now able to print 2 pages on this document. I have page 1 and page 2. So I can therefore set this to page 2. I can set custom margins, and I can choose how many pages I'd like to print on the sheet. So if I say I would like 2 pages on a sheet, when I print, I will have page 1 and page 2 printing on the same sheet. Again, to make further adjustments, I can always go back to my page setup dialog box and make the relevant changes. Click on OK, and when I'm ready to print, once I've selected my printer and set all the printer settings, I can go ahead now and click on print to get 10 copies of this document. If you have any questions or any comments, you can address those to your instructor via the question and answer forum or through Moodle messaging service. I hope you enjoyed this video. Look through your notes in the workbooks and have a good day.